Oh, do I give you the intro?
All right, so we're going to try some new technology here at New Balance Nationals. We're going to attempt our first ever race breakdown. Kyle, you've got a nice nifty, I'm going to call it not an iPad, a trackpad.
A trackpad.
Get it?
Nice. I like that.
And we're going to be joined by Connor Burns, the one and only sub-4 high school miler who just ran, what was it? It was 8:43.24 for the number 5 all-time U.S. high school 2-mile. Congrats. Now you can add New Balance National Champion to your resume. So, Connor, I guess, how are you feeling after that race?
Yeah, I feel good. Got the win. That's what matters, and that's kind of all I came out here to do.
Well, I'm going to just hit play on this,
Yes,
and then we can talk through the race
with Connor, yeah.
the different parts. Now, the lights were being set for the national record of 8:39, but you also had a rabbit in there. Were you, during the pre-race, are you thinking, let's focus on the lights, let's focus on racing, let's focus on the rabbit?
Yeah, I tried to chase times a lot more. I had a lot more focus on times in the first 3 races of my season, and those 3 races didn't go very well. So I kind of learned just kind of put the time more out of mind and just focus on racing, and things go a lot better that way.
Well, the rabbit got out pretty hot here, right? Now, you're never one to be afraid of going out fast. Are you immediately able to recognize that you guys are going a little quicker than planned?
Yeah, I'm really good at knowing what pace I'm going and being able to pace myself in workouts and whatnot. So I'm pretty good at knowing when what pace we should be at, and if the rabbit's too fast or too slow.
So you got the outside start. Is that a choice? Did they give you that offer? Or?
No, I much prefer the outside start, so I was glad it worked out that way.
And coming into this race, in particular, we talked yesterday, and I was like, all right, so who do you have your eyes set on in these races all throughout the weekend? And you said, you've got the fastest PR on paper. You're just worried kind of about yourself in these races. Early on, you created enough space for you. What position did you want to get yourself in the early parts of the race?
I probably would have preferred to be 1 or 2 back from the rabbit, not on the rabbit, which, as you can see, went out a little odd. But behind Jackson or Cole, which ended up happening later in the race. So I was good to just sit behind those guys for a minute.
So I'm just going to pause real quick. We got a solid 5-meter gap there. Are you aware of the lights the whole time, or are you just kind of sitting there and, looking at the time, looking at the rabbit?
I actually didn't know I didn't really notice the lights until I was kind of on my own. When I finally looked down and saw, that's what the lights are. But, right here I was just kind of feeling the pace. I know mostly what the pace needs to feel like when I'm running it. And so I was kind of just feeling it out.
Coming into the race, you ran 3:59 at BU just a couple weeks ago. What's the confidence level like?
Pretty confident coming into this. Obviously, Jackson and Cole are 2 really good competitors. I knew those guys were the ones to watch for today. Mainly Jackson, because last time we raced a 2-mile, I had a pretty huge lead, and then I struggled a lot the last 600, and he hunted me down. So I was really wary of him in the last closing stage of the race.
It seems like you have only gotten better and better as the season got on. Was it just a matter of being in the middle of a big training block at the start of the season?
I think that's definitely a big part of, for sure. The first part was that I was doing a lot of mileage and a lot of high volume workouts. So maybe that kind of caught me a little bit early in the season. So that's kind of good we kind of backed away from that a little more and had some fresher legs going into BU and this weekend's.
What's the winter been like in Missouri where you've been training?
It's been rough, but I can't complain much this year because we had a boost in our garage, a boost treadmill.
Oh, nice.
So that's been super helpful when it's -10 and 20-mile-an-hour winds outside when there's no chance you're going outside. Yeah. So that was really nice this winter.
So at this point in the race, you have Cole, who you get to kind of key off of. Is the mind completely asleep right now and you're just thinking race mode, stare at the back, or are you cognizant of the fact that now the lights are getting away?
Both, really. Once those 2 passed me, I kind of let it happen. It was just all right, this is perfect. Now I just get to draft off these guys, stare at their back, and try and go blanket the mines. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw the lights slipping away a bit, and I was like, it's getting off pace already. But
do you ever admire Cole's hair from behind?
I do, yeah. It's some pretty nice hair.
Well, at this point, you've raced these guys a number of times. Is there aspects of the way that they race that now you have a better understanding of going in?
Yeah, no, I definitely know. I was kind of surprised Jackson took the lead because usually he's one to more sit back and play a lot better in the later stages of the race. But I knew Cole was someone who's capable of pushing the pace. So I was just mindful of like how these guys race and kind of going to that.
Of the three of you, who would win in a 400?
Jackson probably.
Yeah. What kind of 400 do you think you got in you?
I split 49.4 last year.
Oh my gosh. It's unbelievable. All right, so at this point, you know, it's a pack of three of you. You guys have fully, you know, started to make your separation break away, and you kind of take your time making the pass, right? Like you're not doing an aggressive move here. What is going through your mind right now as you're approaching a mile?
I didn't really think about passing them, which I probably should have been a little more cognizant of. Because usually when you make a pass, you want to do it coming off the turn and onto the straight, and you make it quick and decisive. I didn't really know what I was thinking. It wasn't like a mindful decision to pass. I just kind of was going with the pace, and they were starting to slow down, and I felt that, so I just kind of went around them naturally, I guess. I wasn't really thinking about passing them. But.
So 4:23 through the mile. Have you been there before?
Yeah, I went through like 4:17 last time, the 2 mile, and died pretty hard. So this was definitely a lot more comfortable coming through this in 4:23.
Right now, are you thinking like, let's just keep this tempo going, or let's start putting the hurt on? Because it does seem like at one point, you know, you just look down there for half a second, and I feel like that's kind of become a thing that you do. Like you look down at the ground and then you take 2 hard steps.
I've noticed that too.
I don't really notice that. It's funny you guys notice that. I think it's just something I do when I'm tired, I guess. But
there it is again.
Yeah, my parents point that out. I'm like, I don't even know I'm doing that. But the plan coming in was just to stay with these guys, maybe let them lead a little bit, and then cut down hard the last 800. And I think I remember like getting in front here, and I'm like, dang it, I really did not want to take the lead this early. But it just kind of happened, and I was trying to like play it a little bit safe and have something left the last 800. I didn't close down quite as fast as I wanted, but I still got the win, which is what mattered.
But you did consistently pick it up, and especially in this point. I mean, the crowd started going wild at 2K because that record was still very much in it, and you're pulling away from the field. Could you feel that energy?
Yeah, I could definitely feel myself pulling away, and looking at the screens was really helpful because I see how far people behind me were. And like I wasn't really going faster. I was just kind of maintaining. I think everybody else was kind of slowing down a bit. I think I was maintaining like 32s pretty consistently, which I wanted to close down a little faster the last 800, but it is what it is.
I think there's a point, it might be coming up pretty soon as we're rewatching this race, that the lights did start to come back into view and like felt within reach. I mean, it looks at this point that now you start to close in on them and it can actually try and catch them. Did you think of that at any point?
I was trying not to let them get away any more than they were, because, you know, obviously the main focus was getting the win, but I knew I had to put as much gap between me and Jackson as possible because he has a nasty last 400.
He did have there was like a small moment there where it was like Jackson just woke up.
I know, yeah, that's what happened last time I raced him. So I was really cognizant of that. And I back in my mind, like going to the lights, getting the national record was definitely there. But I just wanted to really save something last 200. And I thought, you know, maybe if I'm there and I feel good that I can close it down like a 60, but did not end up happening.
Do you normally rewatch your own races, or are you the type where like it happened and that's in the past?
I don't like watching my own races or like watching back interviews. I cringe at myself. Like I can't watch it back.
You're doing okay right now. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, so we're I think 500 meters left. You think you have the win locked up at this point, or are we just fully focused on time?
You know, normally you would, but last time I thought the same thing, and then Jackson got me. So I was really making sure not to let up this time.
What is kind of like that camaraderie like with the rest of the guys in your class right now? Because it seems like, you know, we saw you guys at the dinner yesterday, and like everyone is pretty tight. Yeah,
it's really cool. You know, a lot of us kind of have our own little friend group, and it's really cool. You know, coming to meet to race. But now the bonus is that we come to meet you, we get to hang out and have fun and mess around with each other.
Well,
I think we're all coming to my room tonight and watching NCAs after the race. So
yeah, cool. Now you are coming back on Sunday, the mile.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do tomorrow?
Just get to watch the boys race. You know, looking forward to this 800 action. Come back tonight for Devin's DMR. Yeah, just kind of I get to relax tomorrow.
All right. He's coming right here. Like that, that gap has closed significantly. Yeah. Are you aware?
I am. I'm looking at the video screen. I'm like, all right, when's he coming? I gotta keep pushing.
you managed to hold him off. Had the race been 200 meters longer, you think he would have got you?
I think I had another gear in me. That's the downside of being mostly solo. Is that I think I could have closed a little harder if someone was with me, because I was kind of.
You're boxed in. You have 50 meters left. You're fully boxed
that's
in.
rough.
You didn't want to go to lane 2 for 1 second on that turn.
There it is.
How's this feel right now? I mean, those lights going up, you see the finish line.
Yeah, I knew the national record was kind of out of reach, mostly towards the end of that, but it felt good to get the win, because last year the outdoor season ended on a down note when I tripped at U20s and didn't make the team, and then obviously NXM was a pretty horrible race, so that was a downside. So it feels good to, well, assuming the mile goes well, and ending the season on a good note.
Yeah, well, that's seen there. You are the boys 2 mile section 9 champion, and no one can ever take that away from you.
All right, Connor. Well, hopefully we get the chance to talk to you again after the mile. But congrats on the victory, and we'll see you all throughout the rest of this weekend.
Do we care about time in the mile?
Absolutely not.
You've already got the time. That's not on you.
No, national record was the goal this season. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen on Sunday, I don't think. Yeah,
That's when it happens. That's when it happens.
I know. Everybody's talking about how many people are going sub 4 tomorrow. I don't think it's a bowl, but I don't think anyone's going sub 4 on Sunday.
Make that tactical.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like, everybody's doubling back, and I guess everybody's doing it, but it's also like a lot harder than people think. And with doubling back in high school races, it really it's hard for it to be a high school race. Like, we thought Grand Prix was going to be sub 4s galore, and no one did. So. Yeah. It's just hard with the high school rabbit and only high school competition.
All right, one last question. There's a big concert on Saturday night. You have a race the next day. Are you going to the concert?
I don't think I am. I'm not a huge music guy, so I think I'm staying in.
That's an advantage. I'm going to wager. I think
Devin's going to be front row at the concert.
Devin will definitely be going crazy at the concert.
Awesome. Well, Connor, I don't even know if you've cooled down. You joined us in this immediately, so you should probably go do that and drink some water.
I think I have awards and then cooling down with Cole and Jackson.
Awesome. So. Well, congratulations.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Sweet.